Hello friends, today's topic is cost of living in Puerto Rico. Let's rant.
It's your favorite New Yorker residing in PR. I'm gonna answer a question today that I always get. Ooh, Lord, shine down on me, huh? The anointed. How much is Puerto Rico? How much you pay for rent? Which is crazy. How you gonna ask me what I pay for rent? And that's gonna validate your question or answer your question to what you can pay? What I pay and what you pay and what I pay is two different things, but whatever. Anyway, that's the question I'm answering today because everybody wants to know all the time. And I always get it in the comments, how much is rent? And, is it expensive to live out there? Is it cheap to live out there? Well, first of all, before I answer that question and give you the true answer that you need to find all the questions that you ask concerning that, I will say this. Where you live right now in the States has a lot to do with if you will be comfortable. Because if you live in a country state where you pay $500 for a whole house a month, coming here ain't really, well, it actually is because now you're paying $500 for a whole house in paradise. So it's a big difference. But I feel like people from the city, big cities in America, they can really appreciate it a lot more because of basically what we pay there goes way further here. You know what I mean? So if you was paying $1,500, $2,500, $35,000, $4,000, $5,000 in New York, LA, Chicago, Texas, Dallas, anywhere in Dallas, that money is gonna have you in a fucking triplex, duplex, penthouse overlooking the ocean, all type of wild shit, beautiful shit rather, excuse me. But if you can get a home, now the home won't be in the best area, but it's damn sure a better area than where you was. You can bet that. Wherever you was in the States, I don't give a shit where you was, it's a better area. But to answer that question and for you to really get the answers that you need, actually, I always direct people to Classificado Online, which is like the Puerto Rican Zillow. You put in the area you want, preferably around the beach, the shoreline, or you can go inland, it get a little cheaper. Some people like to live in the country inland. Some people like me like to live close to the beach. The water calms me. I need to stay close to the water. But that right there will get you all the answers. You can put in your rates, anywhere from $500 up to $8,000 a month for homes, apartments. They have temporary rentals, short-term rentals in hotels. They have short-term rentals in beautiful buildings. They have long-term rentals as well. So, Classificado Online will get you where you need to be concerning the question that I always get asked, how's the rent in Puerto Rico? Hope that helped you out, guys. Fuck with me.
Okay, so another mini rant that I feel is super important. So, as a lot of people know, I ended up moving from Jersey to Puerto Rico for personal reasons. But if you are considering moving over here, don't. For the simple reason, if you do not come from a family that has a lot of money, or if you do not have a stable income, whether it's an online platform, a job, it doesn't matter what it is. If you are not making at least 3 to 4K a month, which is probably the bare minimum, you are going to struggle financially in this island. The way that things are set up for the, unfortunately, poor middle class, it's unfair, but it is not set for anyone to properly live here. You're either going to end up renting or you're going to move back to the States. Personally, I've already experimented this, and I myself am trying to get out of this situation, which is really difficult, but that is the reality. Unfortunately, there are certain areas in this island that are already they've become tourist attractions or even bought by foreigners, so not natives of the island, and that's wonderful. However, because these people are buying essentially tons of the land in this island, it's increasing the prices for the housing for the regular people here. That's the problem, because the minimum wage in this island essentially is anywhere from $8 to $10 an hour. So if they're trying to ever have a shot at owning a home or perhaps a business, it's pretty much impossible. Now, I'm not saying this to discourage anyone. If you do want to move here, you can definitely move here. And as I said, this has just been my personal experience, but I'm sure that there will be other people who might be more successful. Additionally, if you are trying to get a good job here and you have just moved here, definitely try to stay around the metro area, although that's already saturated. So, good luck.
So a lot of people have been having questions about the rent price in Puerto Rico and like the expenses. Is it expensive or not? And honestly, I've been here now a week and I've noticed that it's not as cheap as people make it seem like, or if they say. I feel like probably the perk of cheap would be rent, which I've seen like some units go for like 600 plus. I saw one apartment that was 2 bedrooms and it had laundry in it, which is like really rare to find. It was $1,000, but then on top of that, you have to take in consideration you need to pay for electricity, for water, for Wi-Fi, for groceries. And touching base on groceries, I just came back from Walmart and the groceries are actually very expensive. A lot of the things are actually more expensive than the US. I know that was said that it was going to be like that, but I feel like if you go to like some little corner stores or some little smaller supermarkets, it will be cheaper than it would be like at Walmart or something like that. Also, I'm still learning. I'm still going day by day. I'm just trying to like figure it out and give you guys the best type of advice. I don't want to give you no false advertisement, but definitely I would not consider Puerto Rico to be cheap. I come from Miami, so I'm very used to like expensive things. I would say it's a little bit less, but even the gasoline, it's like 89 cents average per liter of gas. So it's like, I think it's like 4 liters per gallon, so it's almost like $3.97, almost $4 for a gallon of gas, which is almost what it is in Miami. So a lot of things are seeming like in common in price, other than the rent. The rent is probably the only cheap thing, but I feel like the money that you're saving in rent, you're spending it on groceries and stuff like that. So I would not consider Puerto Rico cheap. The food, some places where you go is going to be more expensive. Obviously, touristy spots will definitely be more expensive, rather than if you go to like a local place, it's going to be cheaper, but it's nothing cheap like that. Like we went to a food truck right here, like very local, and my mom got some shrimp and some fongo, and it was like $17, which is actually really crazy prices. And it was not a big plate, but like I said, it really depends where you're going. So please don't come over here with the thought of things being way cheaper. For that, I would like say, because you're in an island at the end of the day, so islands are always going to be more expensive regardless, because resources are harder to get. So keep that in mind. If you want something cheaper, I would say some parts in the United States, like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, things like that, with rent. Or you take the big bounce to go to like Colombia, because Colombia is like really cheap, or like places like that. But cheap wise, it's not. And the pay here is definitely really low. I feel like it should be way higher, just because of the prices of things. And I feel like they pay less because they think, oh, the rent is cheap, so you guys don't need to get paid that much. I'm just talking based off of experience.
Welcome to this beautiful city of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Let's see just how much you need to make to live here. Based on my research, the average cost of living is around $4,016 per month. Assuming you stick to a 75-15-10 plan, where 75% covers cost of living, 15% for saving and investing, and 10% for wants, you will need to make at least $5,354.67 per month. That's a $64,256 take-home income, or about a $91,794 salary. Did San Juan surprise you like it did me? Comment the city I should break down next. By the way, this spreadsheet is now available for free at the link in my bio. Thank me later.
I moved to PR with $300 in my bank account. And I literally had no plan, no idea what I was doing, and made it work somehow. So some people have been reaching out to me that have been following my journey and just kind of wondering like how I've gone about this process. And if you know, my dad passed away in September, and I came here because I felt called. A lot of my family ended up coming. We spread his ashes, all these different things. That's a whole nother story. But for the first month or so, like, I did some events. I went to some Taino events and met people, things like that. I stayed with some family, kind of hopped around the island. I had like 3 separate jobs that were in and out and all over the place. But one thing about me, I know people say it's hard to get a job here, and yes, they may not pay that much money in certain places, but one thing about me is I'm always gonna find a job somehow. I'm good at just networking, talking to people, you know, it all is delusion in the brain. So yeah, I had that job. I was hopping around from place to place, and the thing is, when I move quickly, if something's not working for me, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. Like, I have no plan sometimes and don't know what I'm doing half the time. I stayed at a hostel doing a work trade, where basically I stayed at the hostel for free and worked there at reception. And I was working at a restaurant at the same time. My Spanish isn't the best, so that was a little difficult for me. But honestly, it just comes from me being coochie to the wind. Like, I don't really always know what I'm doing, but somehow it always works. Like, what is it, the type B friend, right? Type B friend? I don't know, that's me. But yeah, if you want to know more about like the ins and outs and the details of all of that, let me know. I haven't been really posting much about it because I feel like I don't really know who I'm catering to, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I try to just, people ask me personally, I'll let them know. But let me know if you want to know. I'm here with it. I just, in my new apartment, oh my God.
I would like to go to Puerto Rico one day. How about you? Comment down below, and thank you for your time.